It meant a lot to me that after I acted like a jackass and I was given a second chance, I don't have the proper words to express what it is when you get a shot that you don't deserve. I thought if I could sit there and calmly explain things to you, you'd be a reasonable person. I know you've been noticed by Josh Scorcher. By sheer negligence, he hasn't sat you down and told you what you're doing is completely wrong. I've sat down with a series of people within the analysis community. I've had words and I talked with Tommy Oliver, Toon Critic, Digi, members of Two Best Brothers Bitch About Ponies, and not a single person in the analysis community told me I was wrong for kicking your teeth in the way that I did. I don't see Josh backing you, MisAnthro Pony. I see one lone, bitter, shitty little man who's reached out far beyond his grasp with sheer hubris. I find it repulsive and repugnant, and I think you should grow the fuck up. Your 4chan mentality sickens and disgusts me, sir, and I wouldn't take it from my best friend, let alone a piece of shit like you.
So, I was pretty much getting everything that I wanted. I was getting people to listen to what I had to say. I was getting them to realize problems in the analysis community. And I was getting people to support me and believe in what I had to say. So, why am I starting to feel like this wasn't something that I wanted anymore? It was a little bit after the Golden Fox rant that I started getting some of the most notorious comments for what I was doing. And they were telling me things about how what I'm doing is going to amount to nothing, and even a video by FNGR, who thinks that I am an absolute degenerate and that I'm just a tool for Josh. I'm not a tool for Josh. I was doing this because it's something that I wanted. And in a meta sense, I thought that this was something that he wanted. For someone to speak up against the problematic people in this fandom. So, after a little while, I started looking through a lot of comments of people telling me that they were growing farther and farther apart from what I was doing, despite that I was still getting positive reception for what I was doing. And that's when I kind of started to think, is this something that I really want to do? Do I just want to be known as that guy who bitches about more popular content creators? I was so sure that this was what I wanted, that this is what I needed to do. And now I was starting to have second thoughts about it. I was gonna give a comment to Goldie telling him that I made a video about him and he shouldn't be on my channel because I know how short-tempered he gets and I don't want him leaving any hateful words on my thing. He's not like Mage. That's what I thought. He wasn't going to be as passive towards what I was doing, so I didn't want him making any over-the-top comment on my video. And the response he gave to me, it was so unexpected of him that I could not believe it. He wasn't angry. He wasn't even aggravated. He just said that he saw it and was passively annoyed with it, and just thought of it as an immature piece of content, which it was at the time, and still is. We got a chance to finish our conversation in that DeviantArt comments section, and after that, he left a comment on my video, and after that, I was really, really second thinking what I was doing. I just couldn't believe how welcoming Golden Fox was, and how willing he was to understand me, as I was to understand him when we had that conversation on DeviantArt. And then he put out his journal on what he thought about the situation. I read through it, and I was absolutely disgusted with myself at one point when he found out that I was doing those rants. He was angry with me when he saw my mage video, and he was scared that he had left a very bad impression with his Season 4 reviews. If I was going to make a video about him, he said that he felt physically sick and that he almost threw up that night. What I was doing affected someone very badly, to the point where they were actually feeling sick and nauseous. That is something that a cyberbully would end up doing. I was being a cyberbully. I just couldn't do this anymore if it was coming to this, knowing that what I was doing was hurting someone else and possibly others, causing a lot of fighting and sadness amongst people who knew what I was doing. And after I got a chance to cool off, I read the rest of his journal. He mentioned our conversation and how, despite my videos, that I was a reasonable person and I wasn't as bad as I was making myself out to be. At the end, he even recommended my channel, and he admitted to subscribing to me. After everything I did, he wanted to listen to other things that I had to say. I was already in the process of making an apology video to Golden Fox, but this was something that I had to include, something that needed to be shown to really cement the severity of what I had gotten myself into. So I made my video, I admitted what I did was stupid, and I admitted that I was proud of him. I was proud of Golden Fox because it showed how much he changed and how much he grew for the better since what happened in Season 4, just like he talked about. I was proud that he had a very mature and very reasonable response to what I was doing, and he was even willing to give me helpful advice. He was telling me that venting is not the best way to express your feelings and solve your problems, just like ANY was doing. After he saw my apology video to him, he left a comment stating that he was very happy with what I had to say, and he even cried like happy tears because he was proud of me for what I had to say. I felt like this just couldn't be the end of it. There had to be more that we had to say to each other, but there was too much for me to say in a common YouTube comment. So I asked him if we could continue our conversation in DeviantArt private messages, and he was okay with it. Now, I've already talked about how we had our back and forth, and we came to a complete understanding of each other, and how we even helped each other to feel better. And we had a good laugh at that Game Grumps video of Kid Fortress, where the guy was constantly getting his character killed. It was one of the greatest experience I had in my life, and it's something that's just been between the two of us, for now anyway. So I had given it some thought, and I decided that there was another wrong that I had to help right, even if I wasn't going to be as passive about it. I made my additional thoughts on Biter video, letting him know to not make the same mistake as me and to try and be a better reviewer. I just wanted to make sure that he didn't do what I did, which was giving people reasons to not like him. And needless to say, he didn't take it very well. So, after a while, I was recollecting my thoughts on the whole situation and how I had just gotten the respect of one of the bigger names of the analysis community, something that I didn't feel like I deserved. I did nothing to earn it except apologize for my mistake. I haven't done anything to show that I deserve Goldie's attention and that he should be subscribed to my channel to listen to what I had to say about things. But still, there was something about it that was uplifting and hopeful. I actually understand what FNGR was feeling when he got a chance to speak with Golden Fox himself. It meant so much to me that after I was being such an asshole that I was given another chance to leave a better impression. I really don't know how to describe this feeling. I just don't know how to talk about how I feel knowing or believing that I don't think I deserve this. Not yet. Truthfully, in the time that we were talking to each other in that month, he did more for me than I was doing for him. I just reassured him that he was a reasonable and good person, which was something that he already knew. I wasn't so sure if I was someone who was worth paying attention to, if all I was going to do was just make angry videos about other people. I didn't know if I deserved to be associated with anyone in this fandom or the analysis community if I hadn't done anything to really gain their trust. I just didn't know how to feel, and I was questioning myself. How exactly am I supposed to feel knowing that I am being given a chance at friendship that I don't think like I have earned? That question followed me as I fell asleep that night. I slept that night, but not for very long. At the time, and in several ways I still am having this problem, I had an insomnia issue where I had a completely jacked up sleeping schedule. Sometimes I'd wake up in the middle of the night, and I would not be able to sleep throughout the rest of the black sky until later that day, where I would end up falling asleep for several hours in the afternoon. Sometimes I wouldn't sleep at all that night, and I would end up falling asleep like at the peak of the morning. And then Mom would make rants about how I spend too much time in my room sleeping because I haven't been getting a proper sleeping schedule. That night, when I had woken up, like early, I think it was maybe 4 a.m., I tried to douse out some time that I had because I had so much spare time. I was watching videos that I may have had interest in seeing, or ones that were in my subscription box, and at that time, on that fateful morning, I still don't remember what time it was exactly, I got an update from Mad Munchkin and Eliora, and they were elaborating on a situation with someone in the analysis community, someone who needed help. I wasn't sure who it was. I was worried that it might have been someone who I was just starting to have second thoughts about after I was treating them so badly. I watched Mad Munchkin's video, and she gave a quick explanation on the situation, and then I saw Eliora's video, which was actually a video made by the Duelstinator. She was just sharing it, and everything I heard was absolutely horrifying. every single second after the first several seconds, I was so scared. At the beginning, they mentioned keyframe, and I knew that Golden Fox was in a relationship with her. Given the tone of the video, I knew something horrible happened. I was hoping, praying to God that she wasn't dead. And then they came out with what was going on. For the last 8 years, she was being physically and emotionally abused by her parents. 8 years she was putting up with this. And the way that they were talking about it, I knew that it was very bad. And I knew that it had to have been affecting Goldie very badly too. I knew this was something that couldn't be ignored because, long beforehand, I knew about Keyframe. I watched her, I followed her, and I was subscribed to her channel long before I even made my own. And I knew that she was a very, very beloved person in the fandom. She was always so nice and uplifting and cheerful. And to know that she was going through this, I just couldn't stand it. I couldn't let this happen knowing that it was affecting Goldie. And knowing that this was happening while I was blindly hating on him and everyone else. I was putting pressure on Golden Fox in a time when he had something more important to worry about. I was just so fucking embarrassed. I was so ashamed of myself. But I knew that I just couldn't stand by and do nothing. Regardless of the lack of sleep I got, I went straight into making my own video about the situation. I just had to spread the word. I had to get it out to everyone that I possibly could. I needed to make sure that the money that Keyframe needed to get out of that disgusting house was being raised. I said everything that came to my mind, everything that I could think of, everything that needed to be said about the situation, everything people needed to hear to understand how serious this was. I even went so far as to collect links of everybody who was making a video about the situation and putting it in the description, just spreading the news in any way that I could. Even Golden Fox made his own video on the situation. And listening to the tone in his voice, listening to how worried he was, how sad he was, how angry he was that Keyframe was in this situation and that she was in it for so long, it just ripped me inside. I knew how badly this was affecting him right then and there. And I was hoping that this whole situation would be over with just as soon as possible, that she would get out of the house by some God-sended miracle the next day. And just when I thought it couldn't get any worse, other people were making their videos about this. And they were going into far more detail about the abuse that Keyframe was suffering from her parents. They went into so much more horrendousness, horrifying updates that I just couldn't bear it. I just felt so insignificant listening to all of this, knowing that I was unable to do anything, that I was powerless to change the situation. All I could do was just sit or pace around in a circle waiting for the next update while spreading my message. I wasn't able to fly over to her house and fly her away from her parents and to a safer sanctuary. All I could do was wait, in the hope that there would be some good news. Sleep didn't matter. The production of my channel didn't matter. Eating didn't matter. All I could think about was Keyframe. All of the horrible shit she was going through, and how it was affecting everyone she was friends with, and how it was affecting Golden Fox. I just couldn't stop. I couldn't bring myself to stop thinking about it until I knew for absolute certainty that she was going to be okay. I was just so scared. I was so nervous. I was so anxious. I was more anxious about this than anything else in my life. What if her parents discovered what she was doing? Knew about her internet identity? What if they did something to her before we could get her out of there? What if I ended up jinxing it by just thinking about that being a possibility? I was so obsessed with finding out about any kind of good news that this situation was going to get better. Even after my King of Limbo with FNGR passed analysis, who had just gotten on as a guest host, I asked him a question before the call ended. I asked him, is Keyframe safe? I just wanted to know if she was safe. He told me that from what he knew that she was doing fine, and that everything was being done to make sure that she was going to get out of there. Days passed, a few weeks passed, and that whole time I was doing the exact same thing. Waiting for an update on the situation, hoping that there would be some good news, always watching her GoFundMe to see how much more money she earned. Of course, they started off with a PayPal, but that was moved to a GoFundMe because the people at PayPal were, I guess they were getting a little suspicious, and in a way, I can't say that I blame them. When you're getting so much money so quickly through all of those donations, but I knew why it was happening. She was getting all of that donation money so quickly because there were more and more people finding out about this. More and more people giving money to Keyframe's cause. More and more money making awareness messages and videos when they were unable to donate money themselves. And as I watched all of it coming together and getting bigger and bigger and bigger, I was just astounded. It was incredible. So much of the Brony community was coming together to help someone in dire need. Someone who was in more trouble than they ever were in their entire lives. They took time out of their existence to help someone who needed it because they knew, they must have known in some way how important this person was to a lot of people. It was incredible. It was remarkable. It was astounding. I could not believe how fast this was spreading and how quickly it was skyrocketing. Even after everything I said about the fandom, all of the bad things and all the hateful words, all of those negative speeches about it, I was seeing people in this fandom coming together to help save her life. I was literally speechless. I just didn't have the words to talk about how great this was. It was just so... It was like some kind of magic. I just don't have any other word to describe the situation. It was a magical feeling that I was feeling from this whole situation. From all the people who were playing their part in this movement, this Save Keyframe movement. All the people who donated money to her, the people who spread messages to raise awareness on the situation, even those who were making hopeful and supportive YouTube comments saying she deserved better. They were all contributing to this magical moment in my life. I just don't know how to say it in any other way. How to describe this joyous sensation that Keyframe was hopefully going to get out of there soon and she would have a better life. The life that she deserved. One that she should have been living. And maybe she could live it with Golden Fox. Maybe she could move over to his house and they could, live together and be together like they always talked about how they've wanted to be. And soon enough, it happened. There was this video by Dwellstonator, and it said, Save Keyframe Aftermath. The theme of the video was how Keyframe got the money that she needed to move, and how she was eventually, finally going to get out of there, hopefully by some time during the summer. And as he talked about all the support and all of the great things that was coming from this, I was so joyous listening to him talk about all of the help that Keyframe was being given, how they got $9,000 in that one night alone, and how he almost choked on the glass of water he was drinking. But I knew that the video wasn't going to be all sunshine and daisies and roses. I knew that this video didn't mean that Keyframe had moved out of the house just yet, and I knew that this was when they were going to go into the very, very personal details about the situation. Hearing it from Eliora and Lightning Bliss, it was truly fucking disgusting. Knowing about what those creatures, not people, creatures, were doing to their own daughter. And even after everything that's been said about the situation, after everything I heard, I was not fucking ready for what I was going to hear next. And I heard it from Keyframe herself. Listening to her talk the way she was talking, I could tell that she was in so much pain all those years. Hearing all of the things that those fuckwads were doing to her. They were pulling on her hair, they were getting her involved in whatever arguments that they were having amongst each other, and whenever something bad would happen, whenever Keyframe would go to her parents and talk about how she actually felt about the situation, they would just say, "Oh, I was drunk, get over it." Who says that? Who actually tells their victim, "I was drunk, get over it"? That's not just incredibly stupid, that's morally reprehensible. Oh, and then I had to hear stories about how they were stealing her money, calling her cuss words, blaming her for their unhappiness, wasting money on alcohol and lottery tickets, and not giving her the independence that she's entitled to. Her mother would lie about how much she loves her child, and her father would constantly defend his abusive wife, regardless of the situation. And she was always denied help from others. She was ignored by her school, and she was ignored by people that she would go to for help. They would shun her away or criticize her career choice. Even the police couldn't help her because her feckin' father kept on making her out to be a liar whenever she told them about her mother's abusive behavior. I cannot possibly imagine how she was able to suck up all of that shit for so long. And then I heard from Keyframe that she wasn't always able to. She actually had thoughts about just putting an end to the whole thing, and if it wasn't for Golden Fox and other people in the analysis community and the fandom, I really don't think she would be here right now. Listening to her saying she was disgusted with herself for even thinking about that, and how she would cry herself to sleep at night because there was nothing that she could do. It was unbearable to listen to. Keyframe should never have to feel that way about herself because she is an amazing person. She can sing, she has a great voice, she is beautiful, she's a great artist, she can do anything. No matter what her parents would say, she could do anything. And she deserved better than those cunts. Just trying to absorb every single thing, every single piece of knowledge of what those things did to her. Even before she got to the part where her mother tried to kill her and her father bailed her out of jail, I wanted to kill them myself. Not inhumanely, mind you. I don't believe in making people suffer in a prolonged way. I would just drive over to their house, put a fucking bullet in both of their faces, and just get it over with. To say that I hate Keyframe's parents, that I loathe them, that I despise them, that I have contempt for them, that I'm disgusted by them, would be an understatement. The word does not exist to describe how I feel about Keyframe's parents. It is that bad. But despite all of that, after all the hardship that she went through, she was finally going to have a better life. She just talked about how thankful she was to everyone who helped save her life, and how she was going to put effort into making herself into a great person with a great career ahead of her. She's going to do so great in that college that she's been wanting to go to for so long. I just know she is. And like her, I just felt so grateful to everyone who had a single stake in this. Everyone who donated to her cause, who spread awareness on the situation, who made artwork for her, helping her to feel better about herself, comments giving her support, just helping her in any way that they possibly could. I just couldn't believe that the Brony fandom, even if it wasn't the majority, could end up pulling off something like this. It just made me so happy. Which is why it really pains me that to this day, there are still people who cuss at the Brony fandom, who give it a bad name for absolutely no reason. Tommy Oliver and everyone in the comments section, that cancerous comments section of that one video, where they have the nerve to say that the Brony fandom is a disgrace after everything we did for her, after everything we did to save her life, after all the time we put into helping someone who needed it. They have no fucking right to say that the Brony fandom is pathetic. But then again, look who's talking. Why would anyone in this fandom want anything to do with me? Ever since I got there, I was doing nothing but causing fights, making people turn against each other. Keyframe and Golden Fox were going through something truly horrifying that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy or just people who annoy me. They were going through that, and in that time, all I cared about was talking down to others and making myself feel superior to them. Do I really deserve what I've gotten so far? Do I really deserve all the good things that I've gotten after everything that I did? Because I'm not sure if I do. I'm going to hit 3,000 subscribers soon, and before then I was getting tens of thousands of views for my videos, when they weren't pieces of material that deserved attention. I'm an accidental success. The only reason anyone even knows that I exist is... Tired? No, CR got fucking tired. This asshole is narcoleptic. So do yourself a solid favor and resist the urge to give her any more of your money in exchange for her artwork. It might look good, but trust me when I say that it is better spent on absolutely anything else on this planet. I've been the victim of more profitable muggings. You are the worst Brony ever. When the time came that you decided to ask the mysterious Mr. Enter what was the point of the episode's existence, did you happen to instruct yourself to actually watch his fucking video? Remember when Digibro was decent? You buttocks! A&Y was right about me. He was right about me the whole time. I'm a selfish, cyberbullying sociopath, and I don't deserve anyone's attention. I just don't deserve any of the praise that I've gotten because I got to that praise by being a sociopathic cyberbully. And that is the worst thing that you could possibly be to anyone. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to everyone that I hurt through my selfish ranting. I'm sorry, Biter, and I'm sorry, Mage, for what I did, and I'm sorry, Digibro, Tommy Oliver, Cuddle Pug, Golden Fox, Keyframe, Give and Take, Drowning in Horseshoes, Two Breast Brothers Bitch About Bronies, FNGR, Toon Critic, Eliora, Voice of Reason, A&Y, Anthony C., I love Kim Possible a lot, Mr. Enter, Judge Scorcher, Lily Pete, Silver Quill, Mad Munchkin, Dr. Wolf, Ink Rose, Lightning Bliss, DeWilstonator, Brony Buck, Past Analysis, Tyan Daga, Sketchy, The Changeling, Manga Common, Rosie Severes, Watchful Pony, anyone else I may be forgetting, Mint Heart, Artistic Passion, I'm sorry, everyone. I don't know What the hell happened to me that turned me into such a hurtful person? I need to be alone right now. I'm sorry.